These people are very rare. They have always been there and always will be. They live on different continents and pray to different gods. But they all have abilities that are beyond explanation. Their words are prophetic. Their undertakings sometimes contradict the laws of physics. Our project is about them, the mysterious chosen ones, the people of knowledge.
This is Iceland, a country situated on a volcano. Earth here seems to be breathing, hot smoke coming from its depths, impressive geysers and volcanic eruptions every now and then. The underground energy runs high. Given this fairy tale nature, earthquakes, and threatening volcanoes, the Icelanders' belief in supernatural feels most natural here. The arrival of Christianity here 1,000 years ago has not changed much in these people, and the pagan beliefs of the ancestors are still there, deeply entrenched in their hearts. You won't see anyone kicking a rock here, because, everyone knows that if you offend an elf, misfortune will be quick to follow. Everyone believes that elves, trolls, gnomes, and fairies live in this land of ice. And the dead can easily communicate with the living. Over here, they say that if you don't see those creatures, it does not mean that they don't exist. This is our national peculiarity. Our hearts are still open to the world of the dead. We are not afraid to see them. And we believe that there are supernatural forces, and because we accept them, they reveal themselves to us.
This is just a normal thing. Like some people say, you need to go to the dentist, and you need to go to the medium. That is the similar thing. You need to go to check up.
People come to visit those psychics from all over the country because they know that they possess supernatural powers. They are the mediators between the world of spirits and the human world. Icelandic psychics are the people of knowledge. This is what you find in every Icelandic home. Following an ancient tradition, one of the walls in the house is decorated with the photos of the entire family. From that of a great-great-grandmother to the newly born grandchildren, a peculiar family album which allows you to meet everyone at once. This is my grandmother dressed in national costume. Look at this embroidered corset. There is a place dedicated to my grandmother in the house, where her favorite things are stored as if in a museum. These are my grandmother's dresses. I keep them, but I can also wear them. These are the gloves which she knitted for me when I was only 7. Ragna kept everything, even her old grandmother's purse. This is my grandmother's handbag. There is a postcard, nail polish, and glasses which she used to wear. Ragna daughter, sees it as a bad omen. Her grandmother wants to tell her something, which means that she has to go on a long journey to the other side of the country, to Reykjavik, to visit a medium.
Popular, they live very long. They don't need much attention. You don't have to go and water them every day, so they are very strong.
The city of Akureyri is located in the north of Iceland. The Arctic Circle is about 20 kilometers away. You find silence and tranquility in this place with a beautiful backdrop of snow-topped mountain peaks. Ragna comes to the cemetery every week to visit the most important person in her life. I think I had the best grandmother in the world. We spent a lot of time together. She taught me how to knit, sew, and cook. We spent a lot of time together, and she was my best friend. Not long after Ragna lost her grandmother, her husband left her. The woman couldn't recover from that. She couldn't understand why he did that. They had a little daughter, and most importantly, Ragna was expecting another baby to be born at that time. I was 26 when I got divorced. I had a 2-year-old daughter and was 5 months pregnant. When I look back, I realized that our marriage was horrible. But having been left alone with 2 children and no occupation, I thought my life was going to end. I was out on the street and I had nothing. She stayed in a cemetery for hours, silently pleading with her grandmother. Please, help me. When my grandmother died, it felt as if my life was over. It was very difficult in the beginning. Once some friends advised her to go to a medium and to ask him what to do, how to deal with the situation. Locals, as all northern people, are introverts. They don't have a habit of sharing with friends. To them, to discuss a challenging situation with a medium is an effective way of trying to resolve it. They know that some mediums use cards, others stones, or they are assisted by the elves. Shuffle the cards. There is a lot of wood in the oven. In Icelandic, that means that there is a lot of metal to smelt. A lot of new opportunities will appear. On the island, where magic is all around, psychics are more popular than rational psychologists.
I think this is a culture. I think this is because we are island. This is the normal thing. This is like I have a cup of coffee in the way. If you just drink the coffee and people normal, this is just the normal thing. Like some people say, you need to go to the dentist and you need to go to the medium. That is the similar thing. You need to go to check up.
When Ragna pulled herself together and went to the medium, Forhalor, for the first time, she just wanted to know what the future held for her. How should she proceed with her life? The future seemed very dark at the time. I was 26, 27 when I got divorced. I had a 2-year-old daughter and was 5 months pregnant. I had a horrible marriage and a divorce. I thought my life was over. I was standing on the street. I had nothing and felt completely lost. I just wanted to know if my life would continue. Ragna thought that a meeting with a medium was a formality. She didn't place too much hope in it. But she was very surprised when during the first visit, Fortalor told her that he sees an elderly lady next to her. Ragna didn't have a single doubt that it was her grandmother's spirit accompanying her. Normally, when deceased relatives come to the session, they bring flowers. The medium said that my grandmother didn't bring any flowers. She arrived with a heap of diapers. My grandmother knew that I was pregnant and that I didn't have any money even to buy diapers. Later on, when I gave birth to my child, I really wasn't short of diapers because the shop next door had a lot of those that were past their expiration date, and the owner gave a lot of them away to me. My grandmother took care of me. Since then, Fortalor has become the medium for Ragna and her grandmother, an intermediary connecting the two worlds. This is my grandmother's handbag. Here's a postcard, nail polish, glasses, what she wore. In the early hours of the morning, Ragna sets off on her way to meet her grandmother. She has to cross the entire country, a chain of active volcanoes. It is 450 kilometers from her hometown of Akureyri to Reykjavik, where the medium lives. Fortalor Guðmundsson is well known in this region. He used to live in the north of Akureyri too, then moved to the capital with a bigger population and therefore more work for a medium.
A medium is a person who can define what life after death is. He can pass on messages from the other world. He's not a clairvoyant, but can answer some questions. That's true. But those answers would only be the answers he receives from the spirits.
When Fortalor was a child, adults often asked him, "Who are you talking to?" "There's nobody around." But the boy told them about his invisible friends, described them the way they looked, and retold their stories. He couldn't tell the living from the dead at the time.
I can't tell the first time I saw them. I think that I always heard them. They always talked to me. That's why, when I was a child, I thought it was normal and that it should be that way.
In any other country, those words would be perceived as something more than strange. However, Iceland is exceptional. Nobody will think of laughing at a person who sees spirits and elves. These people are believed to be specially chosen here, and society treats them with a lot of respect. After graduating from school, Fortalor joined the Professional Union of the Soul Exploration. It is a sort of school for mediums. The more experienced psychics of Iceland teach the youth how to use their abilities in the right way, to contact the other world, and more importantly, to recharge their energy after work. Mediums say that after communicating with the spirits, that they feel tired and listless, as if they've walked a dozen of kilometers.
I see all the souls with a third eye. It's located here. The energy which enters my body allows me to open the third eye. And when the souls are bright, I can describe them. When they come, they stand next to the person or to me. It's different every time.
They believe that each medium has to have its place of power, where they have to replenish their energy within a few minutes. Those red hills were attracting Fortalor. A few years ago, driving past, he felt an urge to stop there. The place was vibrating with underground energy. That's how he found his place of power. Since then, he comes here regularly, at least once a week. And today, having learned that his old friend from Akureyri is coming to visit him, Fortalor is preparing for only a short trip. Fortalor is the successor to the most powerful medium in Iceland, Sigurdur Jónsdóttir. She used to see people in the same room where Fortalor works now. I am like a telephone. I only hear their voices and provide my body for them. Fortalor sees the dead through his third eye. He can see their silhouettes. Sigurdur Jónsdóttir is 82 years old. At this age, it is not easy to act as an intermediary between the dead and the living for this Icelandic lady, but she makes an exception today. Having prayed, she goes into a trance. You're Russian, right? You lived in Iceland, yes? You moved here. You used to work in a school in Russia. Some 5 years ago, Sigurdur had people queuing to see her and to have books signed by her. Based on her sessions, a book had been written on life after death. This is our national specific feature. Our hearts are still open to the world of the dead, and we are not afraid to see them. And we believe that there are supernatural forces, and because we accept them, they reveal themselves to us. This is a peculiarity of Iceland. In the late 90s of the last century, Sigurdur had a special visitor, Gudmundur Kristinsson. He wasn't interested in the answers to banal questions about the future. He was looking for proof of life after death. That is why, for a few months, he came to the medium every day to record stories of the guests from the other world.
We have planned, promised a sitting at, say, 2 o'clock. Then they have prepared it from the other side and are ready. We have some prayer and relax, and then the medium goes to sleep. So at some mediums it can be very, very deep, and we are afraid that his heart ceases to beat. But then he awakes, then some deceased man is coming in his body, or taking over his body, and we can speak with him just as ordinary as we do.
After 50 sessions of such communication, Guðmundur wrote a book about life after death. This topic is so popular in tiny Iceland that 6 editions of this book have already been published. Today, the writer is working on the English translation. He already wrote new chapters on the mediums of Iceland, including Fortalor. Fortalor stops at Ragna, which means red hills. These hills appeared here 5,000 years ago as a result of strong volcanic eruption. Lava meeting ice cooled down, thus creating those picturesque pseudo-craters.
There's a strong energy. There is a powerful. I always say to people, ground yourself. And when I'm saying that to them, ground yourself, I'm saying to stand and think about the fire. There is quite a lot of energy here. There is a powerful. There have been lava and everything. So there's a powerful place and good place to walk around and ground yourself, put your mind. You need to put your both feet on the ground and think about the fire coming into your feet, red energy, and think about the fire, and think about you putting your feet on the ground and take the fire in, and that ground yourself.
Red rocks permeate red energy, big chunks of cooled lava. Its color is due to the iron oxides originating from the very core of our planet. Red lava, emerald moss, and black ash. The scenery is surreal, as if coming straight from the pages of a science fiction novel. It's not surprising that the nature of Iceland is considered otherworldly. It feels like another planet. This is a perfect habitat for elves, whom psychics are believed to sense and see.
Why is I always believe in this is a just normal thing. This is the culture in Iceland. Why shouldn't be another people in another vibration, not on earth vibration, another vibration? Why not? Why are we...
Maybe it's a fairy tale.
No. Don't say a fairy tale about that, because there isn't. This is a fact.
Hello friends, welcome to the Elves School.
The director of the school, Magnus Skarfendisen, has been studying invisible creatures for 35 years.
Guides, tourists ask a lot of questions about who elves are. So I decided to start a school where once a week you can learn all about elves. We are studying what they look like, what they do and eat, and how they live.
Magnus collects and records the stories about the other world told by mediums like Fortalor. He has never seen the little creatures with his own eyes, but he's convinced that 8,000 witnesses, that's the number of respondents, cannot
Some
lie.
of the humans have been friends with the elves for a lifetime. Met them regularly, been invited into their houses. And normally when humans first see elves or hidden people, when they ask them, who are you? Are you dead people? No, 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 no. Are you people from the future? No, 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 no. Are you people from the past?
The director of the school made portraits of elves based on the stories of those who've met them. There are 13 species of elves, 4 types of gnomes, 2 types of trolls, and 3 types of fairies. But the list is not restricted by the number in the school's green book. There is a much larger variety in reality, and Magnus is working on expanding it.
Icelanders call all this flora elves. The small one is flower elves, and then we have nature elves and tree elves and forest elves and house elves and nature elves. They are the biggest, 70 or 80 centimeters, the biggest ones. Then we have hidden people and fairies and dwarves and gnomes and mountain spirits and trolls. Icelanders call all this flora elves, but they normally...
Everyone who wants to get the latest news about the hidden people, come here to the School of Elves. Every Friday, Magnus summarizes the past week's events.
The girl was always playing at this stone, which is outside her house. This is a block, very big block one. Wolf gave me these stones. And the lady gave us the stone so we could show the students in the school this. This is just 4 or 5 years ago this happened. Give me your hand.
Do elves exist? The Icelanders have no doubts. According to the latest survey, over 60% of Icelanders believe that the hidden people really exist.
It is almost some stone or height or very many farms in the country, and also in Reykjavik and Hafnarfjörður.
At times, they do social polls in Reykjavik and other cities, simply asking people in the streets if they believe in elves. One person says, yes, I do. If someone says that they don't believe in elves, then they are asked to kick a nearby stone. No one agrees to do that, because everyone knows that if you offend an elf, then misfortune will be quick to follow. They will not have a life of good luck. They will have some kind of trouble. Tatiana Yashuk has worked as a tourist guide in Iceland for years. She takes tourists to places where elves live. At the entrance to Reykjavik, you can see this quaint road sign, Elves Live Here. There is a big garden of elves in the city. They say that small people built the capital here. You can't see it, but the chosen say that here, for instance, the elves built a church. And their families live around it. They do regular routine things in life. The camera cannot record it, but our guide says that Empa, a female elf, is cooking a fish soup for her family right now. This is Frode. He sits at home by the open window and listens to our stories about elves. He's having tea with honey, and he writes a lot of books for the elves, and he wants to publish them so that people can read them too. He has a big nose and big ears, and he's almost 900 years old. According to local beliefs, elves are omnipresent. Iceland has a lot of roads, and there are thousands of stones on the side of the road. Locals believe that each of these stones are a dwelling for the elves. According to tradition, when visiting an elf's dwelling, you have to bring some treat with you. You want to stay friends with an elf. It's recommended to avoid getting on their bad side. Even moving stones at a construction site is not recommended and should only be done with the elf's approval. The mediums go to the site to talk to the elves. The most commonplace question in Iceland is where to lay a foundation on a plot of land so not to disturb the elves. When Ragna was building her house in Akureyri, she also went to Reykjavik to Fortalor to ask him about the preferred location. She was also concerned about disturbing the elves and thereby causing misfortune. When we started building our house here, a woman stood there watching us. I could see her very well. She probably wanted to see if we were going to disturb her house with our construction work. But it all went very well. It's not only the population of 300,000 people who believe in a fairy tale. The government of the country also pays attention to supernatural creatures. One woman who can hear elves and is friends with them and has communicated with them for years passed the elves' request to move their house, a huge rock from the continent to those islands. And the authorities honored the request. They paid all transportation costs related to the transfer of the big rock and the entire family of elves to the island. It was done very seriously. It was talked about in the news, on TV, and in the media. People attempt to leave places inhabited by the secret people unchanged, and even when building roads crossing their paths, they try to make them less wide so that the fairy tale creatures can easily cross it. Here the road becomes narrow. 40 years ago, the authorities decided to widen it. Elves live here. It is known as the Elves' Hill. When they arrived here and all the equipment was brought over here, it started failing on the first day of work. On the second day, the workers started suffering strange injuries. Eventually, a decision was made to stop the work and leave the place alone, unchanged. Recently, hundreds of Icelanders stopped the bulldozers constructing a new road from the Álftanes Peninsula to the countryside of Reykjavik. A new road could disturb the dwelling of the elves. And the court approved the decision, noting that if people believe in elves, then there is a chance that they do exist. When in Iceland, you end up believing in love stories between elves and people. A famous musical producer, Steinald Berg, changed his life completely thanks to the secret people. He worked with many Icelandic stars until he decided to move here 13 years ago. He went to the waterfalls and decided to purchase this plot of land to retire on. When he was building his house, he felt that someone was watching him all the time. Once he glanced up at the cliff and saw her.
I saw the face of a troll and addressed her. I asked her why she was there. Telepathically. Her name was Drífa. She was smiling. All trolls are scared of sunlight. They turn into wood with the first rays of sunshine. But Drífa loved to watch the waterfalls. I made a garden here open to the public. We call it Rock and Troll. Tourists come here, and I wrote a book dedicated to the troll.
People here are not insane. They don't fantasize, but really see, hear, and feel the magic of the island. Tectonic faults run throughout Iceland. I will show you now. I have a postcard here. Have a look. Here's a fault. Along the fault, you can see red marks indicating active volcanoes. The last eruption of an active volcano, Hekla, took place in 2000. Researchers are waiting for the smoke to come out of its crater any day now. The time for a new eruption is approaching. It is dangerous even to walk next to the volcano today. Ragna drives past the Hekla volcano. It's located halfway to Reykjavik. The woman feels anxious. This is my grandmother's handbag. There's a postcard, nail polish, glasses she used to wear. The last time she went to go talk to her grandmother was a month and a half ago. And if my grandmother called for me so urgently, it means that something happened and she wants to warn me about something.
Let's go. I'll show you.
Retired Egil Johansen lives close to the volcano. The path to his house is made from cooled red lava, as a reminder of the heat of 2000. He was the first to see the eruption. Egil says that the elves warned him about it, that they are always close. Here, right next to him, they built a whole city invisible to regular humans.
Here, right in front of Hekla, there's a dwelling of elves, the Elves Hill, where an entire city is located. They use this road a lot, this crossing. They walk back and forth here or to the city. It's quite hectic here.
Recently, he had a lung operation. When he returned home from the hospital, he lost the ability to see his friends. And the saddest part was that he could no longer see his old friend, the elf who lives next to the bridge.
Here, close to us, lives an old elf. I talked to him a lot before. I could see him. But now I can only sense his presence.
Within 5 hours, Ragna reaches Reykjavik. She's hurrying to see the medium. Now she will learn what her grandmother wants to tell her. This is my grandmother's handbag. There's a postcard, nail polish, glasses she used to wear. Fortalor came back from the Red Hills, his energy replenished, ready for the session. He darkens the room and lights the candles, turns on quiet music. He repeats this ritual every day. Dimmed light and silence helps him tune in.
I light candles, turn on the music, do some other rituals, but it's very important to keep a distance from the client, not to soak it all in, because otherwise the soul of the dead person may get attached to me.
Fortalor hardly manages to warm his hands when the spirit arrives. But this time, it was not Ragna's grandmother.
Og líka að tala í sambandi við það að tala mikið lækjarsprængur, árfarveginn, og það svo skrítið að
It was Ragna's dead father who asked her to come and see Fortalor. According to Ragna, he never talked to her since his death.
Your father says that he's very happy to see you. It is so good that you came because he has something for you.
Communicating with the world of the dead, Fortalor does not go into a trance. He closes his eyes to see the phantoms with his third eye. It is believed that the visitor is always accompanied by their dead friends and relatives, people who were close to them during their lifetime. However, after a session is over, the dead may still linger if they haven't said everything they had to say. At first, Fortalor found that those uninterrupted monologues were very tiring. He simply did not know how to switch off the sound and asked them to leave. The spirit stayed there talking even at night. In order not to offend anyone, the medium extinguishes the candles, which means that the contact is over for today.
Often I finish my work at this point and close down. But at times I meet the dead souls even when I am on the phone, or go shopping, or just walking down the street. They are all around.
The conversation during the session is in a semi-whisper in Icelandic. If the medium wasn't there, it would appear to be a simple conversation between a father and a daughter.
Og þú ert að nýta þér lítina líki tarotspilum. Já.
sessions with the other world helped Ragna to survive the divorce. At each session, her grandmother told her, "You are strong, you can overcome this." And her granddaughter did. She found a job to start with as an English translator for a medium, who was translating what spirits said in Icelandic for foreign tourists. Then, out of the blue, she met her future husband. Her grandmother did not warn her about him. It came as a surprise. But her grandmother approved of the wedding, saying that the marriage will be a happy one. And it is indeed. Almost straight away, Ragna's daughter started addressing her new husband as father. Ragna just came back from the medium, having driven over 5 hours from Reykjavik to her home. But she doesn't look tired at all. On the way back, she kept thinking about the message from her father. He was a brilliant dancer, and she still keeps his dancing shoes by the fireplace. The medium told Ragna that her father is upset that the shoes are not polished, so she has to fix that. Regardless how strange, funny, or smaller requests from ancestors it may seem, it shouldn't be doubted, and should be fulfilled by all means possible. Nobody on this island will try to impose their beliefs on you, but if you indicate that you are doubting them, the Icelanders will sincerely question, "Do you really not believe?" Severe climate, distance from continental Europe, long polar nights, snowstorms, volcanic eruptions, and frequent volcanoes have not affected the culture of these people. It feels like anything is possible on this island where energy runs high. That is why miracles and fairy tales are commonplace in Iceland. Fairy tales which are not easy to believe in, unless you happen to meet an elf walking on the street or a medium who will take you to the invisible world of ancestors.